Vacho Vegam Manasa Kro. Vegam is very powerful urge. Right? Veg. So when they say in Hindi ना कि हवा जो है इस वेग से चल रही है 200 किलोमीटर पर आवर पे चल रही है, like this, like that, right? So vegam is the speed also. So we are probably not aware what is the power of this vega. You will see today in the next 1 hour or so what is the repercussions, what is the impact of the vega on our entire life. 20th century and years before that, in the last 2000 years, how many wars have taken place? Nobody knows. There's no count of how many soldiers were killed by the power of the sword, right? What is the 21st century biggest war against? Obesity. Is it not? Practically say half the population of the world is suffering from obesity. Half the population of the world, adult population of course, right? You find even teenagers nowadays, 12, 13-year-old, 14-year-old children, huge, right? Like, what standard you are in? You're in college? No, I'm in 7th standard. 7th standard? You look like you are, you're already in junior college, right? Obesity. So, like Radha Gopinath Prabhu's and all your IYS courses, they start from this first day of your discussion is our search for happiness. So some of you will have to look at that side periodically. So, because some things are going to be shown there and something we will speak. So keep your attention on both sides. So our search for happiness will divide very broadly into two categories. One is, so the first thing is we have happiness which is operating from things, right? You have happiness of wearing a nice sari, a nice, a cloth, some nice Nike shoes, a good, nice watch. It gives happiness, right? A nice car you have, nice house, swimming pool, etc. It's happiness from things of this world. And the next step of happiness you get is from people. When you interact with people, with loved ones, you get happiness, right? So now, these are two broad categories of happiness we have. Now with people, happiness can derive from the way we interact with them. So that is the speech. When you communicate with them, talk to them, we derive happiness, right? We just sit next to a loved one, you won't feel so much happy. But when you start talking, interacting, sharing, feel, right? And you may also have pleasure coming from people from other factors because of all the different exchanges you have with them, correct? Now through speech, in terms of relationship, when you meet a person first time, what do? You first, how do you get in touch with people? What is the first thing you do with people? Hello, how are you? Good morning, namaste. Or you may say Hare Krishna. Something you'll say. The first thing you do with the people is your first interaction is through your tongue. Correct? You don't give wink at them, or you don't say, you first say something, right? So with speech, you can do three things, my dear friends. First, let us put this first slide into our consciousness. With speech, you can do three things. What are three things? We can build relationships, number one. We can maintain already existing relationships, or if not properly used, we can destroy it, right? So that power to use it with how you want it is within your hands. How you exercise your power, right? We will see in the next few slides. So now we call it relationship, right? We are trying to build relationship in this world. Our whole philosophy is Sambandha with Krishna, right? But before we can have Sambandha with Krishna, who's someone you don't even see, has anybody here seen Krishna? Personally talk to him? So any pure devotees? Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochana. Yeah, we have not seen Krishna, right? But we know Krishna to a certain degree through the Holy Scriptures. So, we are going to have a relation with Krishna. He is our Abhideya Murti. He is our Sambandha Murti, Krishna. However, my dear friends, let's be very grounded. Far before establishing a deep relation with Krishna, we need to have a relationship first with people who Krishna has sent amongst us. Right? Whom we live. Mother Teresa said very wisely, how can you love somebody whom you cannot see, feel and touch? First you have to learn to love people whom you can see, you can feel and you can touch, who are around you. So our groundwork level, what we call as net practice, before you go to a test match, you have net practice in cricket, right? All of you played cricket. We are all cricket fans earlier. Before you play cricket, you have to go for net practice. Similarly, before serving Krishna, first we need to know how to relationship with the people who are around us. Therefore, we call it ship. What is the meaning of ship? Now, ship is so big, right? Each ship is something like 20,000 tons, 40,000 tons. Bada bada hota hai, right? Very ship. But the ship, the direction is changed by what? A rudder. So, what is the weight of a rudder compared to the weight of a ship? What is the volume of that rudder? It may be very small, much smaller, very small thing as compared to the big, huge, thousands of tons of ship. Similarly, what is our weight? Average weight? 60, 70, 80, sometimes 90. But yeah, 70, 80. And what is the weight of our tongue? Anybody knows? Huh? Yeah, 80 to 100 grams. So percentage wise, ship 10,000 tons, rudder very small, but can change the direction of the entire course in the ocean, right? Body 80 kilos, tongue 100 grams, but can change the entire course of your life. You understand? That's called a ship. Relation ka ship, right? So the ship, and the story which you see in the small little picture down there, this child is a very angry boy. Like some of us, we really get angry. And some of us know, Prabhu ji, mera problem hai. Mera temper na control mein nahi aata hai. This child was like that. Very angry fellow. He used to get so angry, so angry. Papa bola, kya hai? What is this? Papa, I said, I want to do something about it. Beta, do one thing. You get angry na, you just put a nail. Next time you get very angry, you take a nail and you hit it on the fence. Okay? There's one. ठीक है करके आता हूँ, right? Now I put fences. How many nails are on the fence? Papa, my number of nails are increasing. Please teach me how to get rid of this now. So he said, next time, then he explained them, counseled them properly. But dangers of anger. After having counseled them properly, he said, next time you're able to control anger even once, no? You go and pull out those nails. I have one victory, Nikala. Even would go to the fence and remove it. Then next time you control his anger second time. Okay, now you go and take out the second nail. He went on becoming angry sometimes, someone or anything, but he controlled, right? Removed. So he removed all the nails. Papa, I have successful. Sab nikal diya, right? So go and let us see the fence now. He said, see, Papa, I have fairly controlled my anger now. All the nails which I had put are all out. Said, but can you see something? There are holes, no? What about them? So, yeah, but the holes are there. What to do? Right? So we may speak something and we may try to sometimes cover it up also, but the wound it creates in the heart. Dear friends, how many of you have been wounded by somebody else's words in the past? Look at the number of hands. Look at the number of hands. Others are thinking, which one? Right? Which part I would say, right? We all have been hurt by people. Was it yesterday you were hurt? Day before yesterday? 5 years back? 10 years back? 20 years back? In childhood? We don't forget. That wound that's what happened, right? So, just like a vase, glass vase, we may take care of it very fragile. Relationships are like that, my dear friends, right? Especially Vaishnava relationships are like that, very fragile. You have to deal with Vaishnavas with very great respect. If broken, they can be sealed together like the other one, the pot is there, but the cracks will remain. So, let us see something about speech. What is the basic importance of speech in our life? Iska महत्व क्या है? Right? So first, is it not true that somebody may wear nice dress and look very nice and like that, but more than their looks and their presentation or what they are, we define people in our mind by how they speak. Right? Is it not true? With this person, no, he is such a sweet person. He speaks he speaks like Rasgulla. He's very sweet. You want to sit there and hear him constantly. So nice. And some people who speak, you feel that kabhi band karega. Karkash. Right? You want to hear them. They're very offensive. very negative, very creepy. Isn't it? The people are, so we define people by speech. Whether you know it or not, people are tagging you by what and how you speak. Very important. It defines a person's persona, his personality. It also, of course, we said it is a means to build relationships, right? When you talk to people, you can build relationships. We can build, destroy, or relationships are there. Plus, it has got cultural relevance. Thus, when you speak, when you have English language, like then people who speak English language, they have a particular type of lingo, some slangs in English, right? So they define their culture. In Telugu, another type place, in other languages, we have a lot of Sanskrit words. It defines our culture, right? So some of our devotees, all of you Telugu people, Andhra people, many of your relatives are settled in America, right? So they will insist their children in the Gharpe, we will talk in our Telugu language. Why? Because when I talk in English language, see, they will learn English in any case when they go to school, but they should not do touch with their mother tongue. Mother tongue also brings the culture. The language also brings along with it the culture. This is Mattur. Mattur is a place which is there in South India, where the entire village speaks only Sanskrit language. Right? Correct? So language also carries a lot of cultural value. Plus, of course, when you speak, it generates consciousness. When Shukdev Goswami is speaking, when Prabhupada is speaking, it creates consciousness, right? When people are speaking all negative things, it creates that consciousness. So when you speak in this world, words carry your consciousness, right? What is inside you comes out through speech. Therefore, words create consciousness around, and of course, it affects our consciousness very, very deeply. If we speak the way we should speak as Vaishnavas, as devotees, then it can very deeply affect our consciousness. But when we speak otherwise, forbidden language, forbidden words, it can very negatively affect our consciousness. We'll talk about it in a little more detail as we go further.
Okay. So during our life, we interact with so many different categories of people. Everybody, do you share a same level of relationship with everybody? No. There are levels of relationship we have, right? So we just take a few categories of people whom we interact with. First is, of course, the family. We are staying at home, we are all family people, we are not brahmacharis or sannyasi. We have immediate family, extended family, uncles, aunts, in-laws, everybody. So family is one of the important categories of people we interact with. Second is, man is not an island. So there are man is a social being. So we have friend circle. Your people, neighbors are there whom you make friends with. So in college we have friends, in school we have friends, and wherever, everywhere we have friends. So friend circle is a very important category today, which is there. Third is, because we are all, again, as we said, family people, we have workplace. So we have our colleagues, we have our bosses, we have our juniors who are working under us. There is a particular way in which we need to communicate with them. And there is people in general. You take a cab and there's a driver. There is a kachre wala who comes to pick up the garbage at your house. Doodh wala is there. Just anybody, random. You go to a shop and the shopkeeper is there. You interact with them. We being devotees, important category of people whom we interact with is who? Other devotees. Because we are staying in a community. We are not in US. It's a different thing. The devotees stay so far away from each other. But here, everybody is staying close to each other. So what is it? The very important category of people whom we need to interact with is other devotees whom we are going to connect with. While working in projects, we connect with them. While celebrating festivals, we connect. During our services, we connect with them. So devotees, and ultimately whom? Krishna, the Lord. And the whole purpose of the discussion is that what is Bhakti Yoga. We are all practicing Bhakti Yoga. What are we trying to do? We are trying to establish a connection with whom? With Krishna. And one of the important ways of establishing connection with anybody is through communication. That's why we call our seminar as what? Tongue mightier than the sword, the art of devotional communication. Right? So, how do you communicate with Krishna? How many of you all have his email ID and phone number? Krishna's. Krishna's email ID and phone number, WhatsApp number. All of you have? We all have. What is it? Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Easy number to remember. We don't even need to store it in our memory or something. Right? However, does everybody communicate with Krishna on the same level? No. We all have different levels of communication. Some have very good communication. Some people are not able to establish the connection only. Okay, I'm not able to connect only. Even though I'm chanting, I'm not able to connect to Krishna. Right? So why does that happen? That's what we want to discuss. That if I want to establish my connection with Krishna, first, as Prabhuji said, net practice, I must learn how to have good communication with his devotees, the other living entities who are ultimately his children, whether they are devotees or not devotees. Krishna loves them. Krishna has created them. So if we can't communicate with them properly, how will we ever be able to communicate with Krishna? Will Krishna be happy with our communication? It's like the parents are there and you talk very sweetly to the parents. Oh sir, how are you? This, that and all. And when the children come, hey, then, so however good you talk to the father, will he be happy if you mistreat the child? He will say, first you talk properly to my child, then come and talk to me. Otherwise you get lost from here, You will not acknowledge us only, right? So in order to understand all these categories of people, why we are talking of them? Because they matter to us in life. At some point or the other, we need to interact with them, right? So you see this beautiful picture of this magician lady. She's able to produce knives from her mouth. How do you like it? Is she a magician? It is you and me. This man is also you and me, and this lady is also you and me. Sometimes the words that come out of our mouth are like this. They just pierce the opposite person so badly that it just hurts them and it सीना छन्नी छन्नी कर देता है तो वॉर में बोलते ना ऐसे that you completely shatter the opposite person just because of the type of words you take out. Okay, so now I will ask you some questions. I'm going to get a phone call, and when I receive the call, I'm going to talk and you have to tell me whom I'm talking to. Okay, so if I get a call, ring ring, and I pick up the phone and I say, oh yes, okay, I will do it. I'm sorry, thank you so much. Hey, all of you could understand, yeah? Really? They're talking to the boss, okay? Then I get another call and say, oh, Ramesh, where were you so many days, yeah? Come, let's meet up for dinner today. Has been a long, so many years after school we haven't met up. दोस्तों से बात कर रहे हैं. We are talking to our friends. Such a sweet relationship. Then I get another call and I say, okay. 8 o'clock. No. 7 o'clock. Whom am I talking to? Spouse. It could be either way around. All the wives are talking very loudly, but it could be either way around. So now tell me, who is the closest person out of these three people to me? Should be the spouse, right? Right? And who is getting the best part of my communication? Boss or friend, when the closest person is my spouse. So why is it, that the closest person in my life receives the worst part of my communication. Do you agree to that? That the closest people to us, unfortunately, receive the worst part of our communication. Does it happen? It happens more too often, right? And that is why it is said the degree of intimacy determines the degree of pain or pleasure. If somebody in Timbuktu hurts me, I feel hurt, but it will be so temporary. Yeah. Anyway, what have I got to do with him or her? Staying in Timbuktu, yeah. But I'm staying in the same house, and this keeps happening, again and again and again. How hurt do we feel? Have you ever thought of it like that? We talk of conscious eating. Everybody's become so conscious, Oh, dieting, I follow this particular diet, and millets I eat, and I don't eat dinner in the evening, and we're so conscious of whatever we eat. We are so conscious of what we wear. I'm going to office, I have to wear formals. I'm going to a party, I have to wear informal. Hmm? I'm going for a marriage, I have to dress up very nicely. Why we are so conscious? Why don't you wear phata purana things and go to a marriage? Or why don't you wear shorts and go to college? I mean, go to office, right? Why don't you wear a suit and sit at home and wash bartan? You don't do that. Why? Because we are conscious of what we are doing. Then why aren't we so conscious about the way we talk to people? Life just goes on, and those who are hurt keep getting hurt, and those who are happy keep remaining happy, and life just goes on. We don't even think about our relationships in that way. So that's why we think that it is sometimes necessary to stop and think that what am I doing, because this is an important way the relationship gets affected. By good communication I can build good relationship, by bad communication I can destroy the relationship, huh? Or I just want to keep it in the maintenance mode ke chal raha hai na chalne do. It's going on na, neither it is breaking neither it is making. Most people are in that category. अभी क्या 40 साल प्रभु जी हो गया शादी करके, अभी क्या जोड़ना क्या तोड़ना चल रहा है, हाँ? How many people use the dialogue, ये तो बच्चे हैं इसके लिए, नहीं तो डैश 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 कभी का छोड़ दिया होता है ना, हाँ? But we sometimes शर्म के मारे we just stay together, society, what people, but there is no pleasure in the relationship. Why are we trying to have a relationship? Some pleasure should be there, na? I don't want to go and do things out of misery. Whatever I do, I'm doing because I want pleasure. If my marriage is there and I come and give you a card, Prabhuji, my marriage is there, huh? Please come. Getting married, Well, then why you're getting married, Huh? But I'll come and say, Prabhuji, please, I'm getting married on such a day. It'll be a great pleasure if you come, and come for the wedding. That shows that I'm happy getting married. But I'm not miserable getting married, isn't it? So same way, I'm wanting to, we must, why we are having relationships? Because we want some pleasure out of the relationship. We want some pleasure. And if that is not coming, whether we want or no, others want some pleasure out of our relationship with them. Huh? Even if you are not bothered, but others might be getting affected from our behavior, our communication. So we need to sometimes take out time like this and think, okay, is there I can make some changes in the way I'm doing things?
A bit of scientific analysis will help also, right? So there are this psychologist called Dr. Albert, right? He figured out that did an analysis as to what are the ways in which we communicate, right? So he figured out something which is very interesting. Statistics. This is accepted in the world over now as quite a standard research analysis. He says that your words are only 7% of your communication. Did you know that? What is 7%? Very small, no? We think communication means mera words, right? But 7% is only your words, actual words which I use, the grammar, the words, the lingo, is only impacting my communication by how much percent? 7%. What is the other 38%, 55%? 38 is my voice. My voice. When we say the voice means what? Voice means voice modulation, the content, right? The tone, right? The tone, what is Sweden? So some things can be spoken in the same thing can be spoken in different ways, no? The same thing. Suppose I say 2-3 words, I'll tell you, right? आप आ गए, आप आ गए, आप आ गए, right? आप आ गए, right? Same thing, no? आप आ गए in fear, आप आ गए in pleasure, आप आ गए में in taunt. अच्छा, आप आ गए, right? Word तो same ही है ना? But did you derive 3 different meanings out of that? So words were the same, but my body language communicated something different. Were my eyes speaking or not speaking? And I was saying that my eyes also were speaking, right? My words were speaking, and my entire body was speaking also. So in just 5 seconds, you figured out what I was trying to say, correct? So our entire body speaks, my dear friends, right? When a pure devotee looks, the one example of this could be when a pure devotee glances at somebody, he communicates through his eyes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was walking through the streets of South India, right? He just glanced and gave love of God, communicate his love with them. And Srila Prabhupada being so pure, to look at somebody, just look at them. And they would feel so enthused. Prabhupada looked at his glance, sort of activated something within their heart. And dormant Krishna Bhakti became activated, right? So there is something which is there in communication where our entire body can speak. Yeah. So the important thing is what is in our mind. Manasa will come into our vacha. What is in our vacha will come ultimately into our kaya, right? The 3 things, like Ramacharya's deity we saw today, is a 3 dandi sannyasi, right? Kaya, Manasa, Vacha. Gaudiya Vaishnavas, right? 3 things. So, what is happening in our mind will definitely affect our words, right? So now, yeah. Now I want you to do, my friends, I want you to look at the slide very carefully, right? These are the components of communication. One is the content, other is the intent, and third is the impact or the effect, right? So, content is what words are spoken, what tone was there, what amplitude was there, right? Content also means when it was spoken, right? Which time, desh, kal, patra, circumstances mein. These are not part of the content. Other is intent. Intent. क्यों बोला है? जो बोला वो बोला क्यों बोला, right? What is intent? Was it casual? What is motivated? What is to please? What is to hurt? What is to appreciate? Whatever, right? Now my question to you all is, if you have noted this carefully, which is more important?
Intent.
Huh?
Intent.
That is what the question is being asked. You understand? Right? It's not an easy question. Is content important or not important? Content is very important. क्या बोल रहे important है ना? It's very important. The tone, we already spoke about that, right? आ गए. My words, the content was important to you all. You all figured out what I was speaking by your content. Important है कि नहीं content? Intent important है कि नहीं?
Relatively important.
Huh?
Relatively important than content.
My dear friends, they are both equally important. Let's put it very clearly. Very, very important, right? For a Vaishnava, the content can be sometimes just maska pale. अरे क्या यार आप तो ऐसा वैसा वैसा करके मॉडर्न निकालने का है, पैसा निकालने का है, तो how do you speak with them? Intent क्या है? बाटली में डालने का है उसको, बराबर है? So your content is looking very nice. You think, oh, he's a nice friend, but your content is right. So Mantra is speaking very nicely to Kaikai, as if she is like the closest person to Kaikai. She's giving a lot of good advice. अरे ऐसा होगा, वैसा होगा. It will happen. Something will happen if Ram becomes a king, right? What is her intent? She is driven by deep envy of Lord Ramachandra. Right? Intent was terrible. But content wise, Kaikai felt that this content is excellent. And she did not understand even her intents. She could masquerade her content so beautifully, intent was not even known. Correct? Therefore, for us, my dear devotees, when we speak and when we misfire our speech, suppose you get into a tangle, some sort of a conflict with your wife, with your husband, with somebody else, right? Just ask these simple questions to yourself. Because devotees means constant self-analysis. Devotee means constant self-analysis has to go on. Introspection has to go on. Was my content wrong? Was my intent wrong? Ask yourself this question. Did I speak things properly? Was my tone? Because as I say, it's not what you say, but often how you say it. Because when the sasu says, the mother-in-law says something to the bahu, she always feels, that uske piche kuch hidden meaning hota hai, right? So she starts perceiving always some intent is there behind that, right? So when you misfire, always think of content and intent.
Why it is important? Because ultimately perception is reality. Even if my intent is good or whatever it is, if my content is not proper, still the desired effect is not there. And the beautiful example is of Rupa Goswami. He laughed at that while he was in meditation. He was seeing some pastime of Radha and Krishna and he just laughed. But a deformed Vaishnava was passing by and he felt that such a big saint like Rupa Goswami is laughing at me. How mean of him, And because he was hurt to some extent, what happened? Even Rupa Goswami's samadhi broke. Did Rupa Goswami mean to hurt him? No. His intent was not at all there. But the content of laughter was the thing which affected. So content, intent, both are important because what we say and how we say it has the desired effect or the undesired effect. So that is why all are important. Okay. Now there are certain factors which affect our communication. We are, in our day-to-day dealings, some factors affect the way we communicate. Normally we may not be like that. I might be a good person, talk very nicely to people, but sometimes the physical factors play on me. I have come from a very hot outside and I have come home and had a heavy day and all, and I come home and I am like, and my children or wife will say something and I will flare up. I'm not that type of a person, but circumstantially, physical factors have acted on me. I have been overworked in the office today. So I have landed up snapping at the person, or the husband came home and the wife is snapping at the husband. Why? Because the children gave a tough day to her, the maid did not come or whatever happened and she had a tough day. So she landed up snapping. So physical factors, do they affect our communication? Very much, right? Emotionally, if I am emotionally hurt or I'm emotionally down or I'm emotionally affected by something, I may land up talking like that to somebody. Ordinarily, I'm not like that. Ordinarily, I'm a good communicator, but I lost a near and dear one. So I've done incomplete communication or I have done little bit of neglectful communication, but it is because of some emotional factors that are playing. So that's not we have to accommodate that. Okay, it's because of that. Sometimes it is spiritual factors also could affect. Now you might think, how do spiritual factors affect? For example, we are going to celebrate Janmashtami in our house and we are going to do Abhishek and all, and 100 devotees are going to come to my house and things are not yet ready. So what happens? Sometimes husband and wife end up snapping at, "Abhi to pichha nahi hai. Do it, yeah, people are going to come. You don't understand that much. So how many liters of milk? 5 liters of milk. 5 liters? What will happen? How much Charnamrit will come out of that? 10 liters you should have. Arey Prabhuji, 10 liters where we will have to distribute to the whole society over there. 5 liters, 10 liters ke upar argument ho jaye. It's a spiritual thing. It's for Krishna only. Or Commonly, when we are getting late in the morning, both husband and wife are working. Who will do the offering? You have arguments like that? You do not. Every day, so I do. Today, you cannot do it. You all have that type of things? Only we have. Right? We all have like that, You do, I'll do, you do, I will, It's a spiritual thing. But that also could become, why? Sometimes we may not have finished our rounds. So that plays on our head. Arey, Chapo baki hai itna, and you're talking and telling me to do all these things. I haven't finished my rounds. So rounds is a spiritual thing, but that is becoming a cause of problem. The days you have finished your rounds in the morning, you are in quite a happy mood, no? Everything is nice. Huh? At home, everything is nice. People are nice. The same people, but everything becomes very nice. Why? Because I have finished my rounds. The day I haven't finished my rounds, that do, Whatever happens around, I get snappy over it, right? Usually, Prabhuji and me, whenever we have an argument, we have it on a Thursday. Aren't you surprised? Why only on specifically Thursday? Because Thursday is a little hectic day for us. We go for DT worship at Radha Gopinath temple, which is like 1.5 hours away from our house. So we get up at 3:30 and we go to the temple. Wednesday night is late night sometimes because patients and all. He has come home late. We have slept late, got up early. We have gone to the temple, done cooking for the Lord, done dressing. By the time we come home and cook and then we eat and we are like so dead tired. So we land up arguing on Thursday. Now it's no fault of Radha Gopinath that why we are fighting, but it was a spiritual reason. But we landed up arguing on that. So we become extra careful. If we start arguing, we say, okay, it's a Thursday. I'm sorry. I realize it's a Thursday. Cut. Matter sorted out there. Because sometimes we need to identify our stress factors. Stress factors, unless we don't identify, we may end up behaving like this and hurting each other, And repeatedly, once or twice is accommodable. But if it repeatedly keeps happening, then it's bad. Also, our upbringing. Sometimes our upbringing has been so bad that we have only seen our parents barking at each other. They were always shouting at each other, telling, you go to your mother's house or you mind your own business, what did your father... you are not earning enough. Look at that Prabhuji, how much he is earning and what all these things they have seen in their family. So we also land up behaving like that with each other. If the son and the daughter has seen parents talk that I will leave you, I want to divorce you. Unknowingly, subconsciously, the children also land up behaving and talking like that. There is more possibility of them arguing and having misunderstanding and wrong communication because that's what they have seen in their house. And if you have seen good communication between parents, like he has seen that in his house, the father and the mother talk very respectfully to each other. They talk very lovingly. They talk very understandingly. They take each other into confidence in whatever they do. Decisions, discussions, everything. So, that's what he has learned. So, he's an excellent communicator. Why? Because that's what he saw in his parents. What we see, our parents are our best teachers. But do we want to perpetuate that sin in our children? What to do? My parents were like that, so I am like that. So tomorrow your children will also say, what to do? My parents were like that. His children will say, what to do? But somewhere you have to break the circle or no. If my parents were like that, what path our children have done that they should suffer the same thing. Break the cycle and try to be better so that they can see better examples in us. Even Prakriti affects us. We have Ayurvedic doctor in our hospital and he says that sometimes I sort out problems between people by identifying their Prakriti. This person is Pitta Prakriti, that's why always high strung, and other person is Kapha Prakriti. Thoda संभाल लो. So nadi dosh settle करने से भी sometimes communication issues could get sorted out. Okay, you understand कि okay, it's okay. My wife is Pitta Prakriti, so I don't take it seriously. Sharp tongue is there. My wife is like that because she's Pitta Prakriti. Slowly with whatever she will improve. And sometimes the wives feel my husband doesn't talk only. He's always so thanda and so calm and all that. Why? Kapha Prakriti person, maybe. Shanti say, good for you that he's like that. So Prakriti could be there. An important factor, basic, is gender difference. Now this is what? Who made the genders? The Lord made. So it's a manufacturing defect from up. If at all you think like that why men are like this and why women are like this. Okay, the total psychology of man and woman is only different. What do men do? They usually talk to. Suppose there is a festival in the temple, Pushi Abhishek, and the husband has gone and the wife has not gone, and the wife will say, Prabhuji, how was the festival? Nice. Prabhuji gave class. Abhishek started at 7:30. Then there was Prasad, and I have come home. End of the story. And if the wife has gone and the husband has not gone, and the husband doesn't need to ask also, the wife will come and tell. Huh? You know, Prabhuji, what a festival it was, you know. Hundreds of devotees were there, fully covered. And when the darshan opened, my God, what a beautiful dress. Combination was purple and blue and green and white. What bright colors were there. And then suddenly, you know, after the lecture, these examples were given of Kolovet Sridhar and the fruit seller and all. And lecture lasted for exactly 30-35 minutes, and then the Abhishek started. And first they had white flowers, then after they were so fragrant, and then they had yellow flowers and then red flowers. One said, I don't want so much detail. It's fine, you know. It's okay. Every year I attend Push Abhishek, but the wife wants to give. So man's psychology is what men usually talk only to inform in a result oriented way rather than to have emotional connectivity. So that is the way men are being made, right? And what do women do? They have this, they talk about their problems, not sometimes they love ventilating. They want to convey things, you know, and husband might think अभी और कितना सुनना पड़ेगा, you know. They feel it's a waste of time. एक तो I've come home and they are going on and on and on and on, but that is the need of the wife. So if both husband and wife understand the basic manufacturing defect, if we call it, you know, by the Lord, so we will understand okay, you know, I have to give that extra time. That is the need of my wife. And if my husband is not talking, doesn't mean that, you know, he doesn't care for me. But men are like that, you know. So what to do? So even this gender difference, if we don't understand, we might start feeling insecure in our relationships. The wife will say, husband is not talking to me. Maybe he's talking to somebody else. Why is he doing like that? All sorts of thoughts will come into our mind, right? So, are you with us? Yes. Are you able to identify this happens in Ghar Ghar Ki Kahani? Yes. So now we'll go to levels of communication.
Dear friends, please have a very close look at the slide. Okay? There's another type of mirror which is there. Now, what this slide is teaching us is very pertinent. We are evaluating people by the type of communication they have. And based on that, there are three types of people. Now, we are all so-called human beings, but the level of communication can be sometimes subhuman, lesser than expected by human being. Or second category can be like a human-like communication. And third category could be superlatively beautiful communication, which is seen among Vaishnavas. And what is that? What is subhuman communication? When there is, as per our previous discussion in the slide which I asked you to look at carefully, there is bad content and bad intent. Example, if it is indecent, vulgar talk, offensive talk, bad words, topics centered around wine and women. Whenever whomsoever talks like this, I am not saying that devotees talk this, but I am saying whomsoever talks this, that person, as far as communication is concerned, is categorized as having subhuman communication. Not expected. Right? Now, when you talk about human communication, average, right, means what? There is good content. Intent may not be, maybe, may not be, pata nahi, depends on various things, right? But at least the content is good. That means the speech is modest, is used civilized words, he will be gentlemanly, he will be polite, He'll be filled with courtesies, and he will have much discrimination what to speak, how much to speak, when to speak. Correct. When this is there, it is called as human communication. Right? Are you able to understand this? Right? This is what we should be at. You and I are human beings, and our upcoming Vaishnavas or aspiring Vaishnavas, the minimum thing required by us is this. We'll talk about Vaishnavas a little 2 minutes later. Is it not true that sometimes because of the bad modes, when we're not always in Sattva Guna, we get affected by Rajagun? And if we are in bad shape, we may be affected by even Tamaguna. When the gunas go down, the speech quality drops severely. Right? Look at that. In the modes, what happens is that, and we are in mode of goodness, we are conscious, as she said in the beginning, a nice thing, conscious speech or conscious communication. So when you're conscious of what to speak, how much to speak, etc., that is the mode of goodness. When you think, after we have spoken, you think, "Arey, barabar nahi bola usko yaar, I messed it up. At least okay, rajagun ho gaya." But you are totally careless and careless about what you speak. Jane do. There is also a Hindi word, I don't want to use those words right now. But become totally insensitive. Right? That is called as Tamaguna. So now, let us see what the ideals are first. Ideals kya hai? We want to become Vaishnavas. So can we move towards the right side of the slide and try to keep the left side away from us? The right side is what? When you see great Vaishnavas speak, right? How do they speak? First thing is, they're never hurtful. They never hurt. Vaishnavas don't really hurt. Then their speech is always free from envy and jealousy. They're not jealous of people. They're free from it. Nindadi shunyam. They don't criticize. They're eager to glorify the Lord and the devotees. Very, very positive. Harikatha, Vaishnava Stuti. They speak the truth. They're honest. Their life is based on truth and they speak the truth. Their life itself is Satya. Right? Everything about them is Satya. Right? And they uphold in their life what we call as value system. And the value system is they uphold values given by Sri Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And of course, they are very, very liberal when it comes to appreciating people. Very liberal when it comes to encouraging people. Very liberal when it comes to expressing gratitude. So what we want to avoid, what at least this slide should help us is that, can we put a complete cross on the subhuman communication? From today onwards, if we want to make some progress in our communication skills, all of us are going to be here for next 2-3 hours. We are discussing all these things. Can we come to one conclusion as a group, as a community, as friends, right? That I will try today in my Vacho Vegam process. My Vegam should not drive into such a crazy level of community where I become offensive, hurtful, right? And sometimes bad words. It is not uncommon, my dear friends. When we travel around meeting so many people around the world, we find that even devotee families, it is not uncommon for people to use gali, abusive words. It is not uncommon. The question which arises when we ask them is that, my dear devotees, my dear Prabhus and Matas, right? The tongue which you are using for chanting Harinam, the tongue which you are using for chanting nice shlokas of Gita and Bhagavad, the tongue which you are using for glorifying and singing bhajans of the Lord, doing stuti of the Lord, how can that tongue be allowed to speak vile words of offensive nature? How can we avoid to use gali? कैसे बोल सकते हैं उसके ऊपर से गाली? Do you think that ever Krishna will manifest on your tongue when you chant Hare Krishna mantra? No. Answer is a clear-cut no. Right? Krishna is not so cheap. He's not so cheap a God that he just comes because you say Hare Krishna, he will come dancing at your tunes of your Harinam. He is very selective, very choosy. Naham prakasha sarvasa yogamaham samavrita mudhom nabi janati. Right? Let him just come. Naham prakasha. He will not be manifest to us if this is the level of our communication. So let us at least make a decision. At least even let me remain on the level of middle level. Middle क्या है? Human communication. I can be. Let me be polite. Let me be courteous. Right? When you go, sometimes you're on the airport. Now, how you see people say, when you just touch your bag to somebody, sorry. With the air hostess, very polite. Thank you. You see the glass of water. Thank you very much. Right? The best courtesies you want to see, you see on the airport. People are like, they stand in the line and little bit, you come first. Yeah, thank you. Right? You see all courtesies there. Right? And at home, अक्ल नहीं है क्या? समझता इतना समझता नहीं है तेरे को? Oh my God! Whatever words come out there, right? So can we put a cross to that? Right? One is negative, other is at least zero. It's positive. At least human level पे आ सकते हैं, है ना? आ सकते हैं, आ सकता है. ठीक है. Good. So if that is it, decided. Can you say Haribol to that? Haribol. Haribol. Jai. Haribol. Very nice. Thank you.
We have to go. We can go on till what time, bro? Then it will have to sit here till the end of our lives, all of us. So we are also trying to understand. What time? It's 7:30. 8 o'clock? Okay. Yeah. So what we are trying to understand over here is there are different, as he said, Vaishnav communication, human, subhuman. But there is unhealthy, ineffective communication. Coming to more practical, that is what we understood as theory. We should do this and we should not do that. But what does that actually mean in our day-to-day life? So there is two types. Unhealthy, ineffective communication has to be what? Where does the arrow come down? Down. Right? You see those blue arrows? That has to come down. And the healthy, effective communication has to be increased in a conscious way. So what is unhealthy, ineffective communication? Again, as we said, there is verbal and there is non-verbal. Body language is there or words are there. So when we talk of non-verbal communication is that when our family members are talking to us or some devotees who are talking to us, what do? We're yawning, looking at the watch, turning away, cold response, looking bored or just rolling our eyes up, making faces, or we even try to do what? Tit for tat. You said like this na? Dikha denge. We will show you. So all this is non-verbal communication. You are not saying anything, but the message goes across to the opposite person that I'm not interested in communicating with you, okay? Get lost. Type of thing. And verbally, if I want to communicate that to the person, what will I do? I'll end up comparing. Do you know? Look at that Mataji's dal, how she makes. And look at how you are making. Learn something. And my mother, what sambar she makes. And look at your sambar, how it is. And the wife is thinking, well, your mother also, when she got married, she was not making that good. Now when you are 25, 30-year-old, now her sambar has become good. When my son will also be 25, 30, I'll also make good sambar. Be patient with me, na? So that comparison comes. You are comparing. Compare about the man. Sometimes you compare devotees. These seminars we are talking about is that for family and for community also. When we have our groups, Bhakti Vriksha groups or something, if we are all the time going to compare, just see that group, how much enthusiastically they are doing, or look at our group, so they will feel, then you, Prabhuji, then you lead that group only, forget us, What do you feel? You feel belittled, right? That is verbal communication. Sometimes there is nagging. Again and again we keep, with our partners or with devotees, we keep telling the same thing to them. Don't do this, don't do this. Don't do this, don't do this. Do this, do this. Nobody likes nagging. Even children don't like it. So where is the question of trying to do that? So we have to be careful. Then there is a blame game. We land for anything good that happens, We want to take the credit for anything bad that happens. Because of them, I would, if I was there, I would have never done like this. We do that. Judging people, abruptly changing the subject, insulting people, lying, criticizing, fault finding, boastful, complaining, condemning, ridiculing, self righteous, digging old graves. What happens by doing all these things? Emotional divorce. We may physically stay together in the same community, but you will see sometimes two devotees cannot even face each other and talk. Why? Because of some wrong communication, unhealthy, ineffective communication that happened between two people. That you have become so hurt because of all these things. Or family people also, they just stay together, as I said, बच्चे हैं इसके लिए, otherwise I would have left you. That type of attitude. We may come. So you stay together in the same community, in the same house, but emotionally you are divorced from each other. Imagine how painful it is. At least if you are physically divorced, you don't have to see each other. But when you are emotionally divorced, you are seeing each other day in and day out, but there is no connectivity. You don't feel connected with each other only, right? That much hurt has gone because of unhealthy, ineffective communication. So let's understand what is healthy, effective communication. How do I avoid that? Again, if I say verbally, what I can do, I can use some encouraging words. Can we do that? We can use encouraging words for each other. We can have more clarity in our communication than have ambiguous communication with each other. There could be more pleasing ways of conveying the same thing. एक अंधे को बोलेंगे अंधे अच्छा तो बोले कि भाई साहब आपके आंखों की रोशनी भगवान ने चुरा ली है, थोड़ा आप साइड में हो जाओगे, तो उसको भी अच्छा लगेगा कि अरे अच्छी तरह से बोला. That's why Prabhuji said it's not what you say, it's how you say that matters, right? Appreciate. If we increase the appreciation element, that is good verbal communication. Non-verbal में कैसे? When you are talking to people, if you just talk like that, like they are doctors, if they just touch the patient and talk, half healing takes place from that only. How are you today? How's your BP? Doctor Sahab, I am feeling good, automatically. So if some devotee is there, your children are there, and then sometimes you feel if I touch my child too much, I'll fall in Maya. But what is the fault of the child, Hug them, kiss them, they are your children. They are looking for affection from you. So touching is a sign of non-verbal communication. It's healthy, right? Yeah. Smiling. Giving smiles. Sometimes people have castor oil faces. Anybody, sir? But if you are a very smiley type of person like our Lilananda Prabhu, and some reason, no reason, he will keep smiling. So that itself exudes so much positivity. You feel like being around such people, right? So always smiling type of people. You make some positive gestures. There is empathic listening. You are trying to listen to whatever the opposite person is saying. So in short, if you are to define healthy communication, it is when two people are able to express their needs, wants, feelings clearly and specifically, and have these expressions received with care, respect and attention. That is positive. Don't assume that my partner should be mind readers. क्या बोलने की जरूरत है? They should understand I love them. बोलना थोड़ी है रोज I love you, I love you, I love you. जरूरत है क्या? रोज मत बोलो, but once in a way तो बोलो. कुछ पाप नहीं लगेगा बोलेंगे तो. Isn't it? If you tell your children, I love you so much, beta, so they will feel so good about it. Communicate what you are feeling to the opposite person. Then that will have. Don't expect everybody will be mind readers. And especially that happens with close people. As he said, far off people, you are very generous in appreciating or telling things, communicating to them, sorry or whatever. But with close people, we take it for granted that it's understood, na? What I have to communicate? Don't you understand that much? How do I have to tell you that? It becomes like that, right? So when we are talking of So when we are talking about these type of things, we are talking about what? Marriage between married people. How do you like this? Confusing? What is marriage? There are two things. There is a wedding and there is a marriage. What is the difference? Exactly. Wedding is an event. So when we are getting married, we plan. I did shopping. I did invitations. I fixed up the menu. I fixed up the hall. I'm ready for the wedding. But that you are ready for the event. But are you mentally prepared that one more person is going to come into my life? I have to share my life with somebody. So how will I be able to do that? Right? Are we prepared for that? So love is not, it is a verb. Verb means it's an ongoing thing. It's like a love tank. Can you, even if you have the best of cars, you have Mercedes or you have Tesla, if you fill the petrol tank, sorry, if you have Mercedes and if you are filling up your car petrol tank on the first day till the end of your life, can you just run on that? You have to do it periodically. So same way my love tank needs to be filled periodically. Let's not talk of renunciation in a premature way. Many people say that, oh, I want to be renounced. Like we were telling in the morning that somebody came and said that, Prabhuji, please bless us. We want to become Grihastha sannyasis. Which species is this, some Brahma didn't create this species, right? So we are talking of detachment even before getting attached. I can get detached from something which I'm attached to. If I'm not attached only, if I tell Lilananda Prabhuji, I'm detached from your farmhouse. But I was never attached only. From today onwards, I'll be attached more. But we are not attached. So where is the question of detachment? Detachment, our dear friends, is an organic thing. Just because you come into spiritual life, let's not think that, it has to be something different. We don't behave normal, we feel, how can I, if I do too much, I'll become attached. I fall in Maya. This will happen, that. In that, we deprive our close ones from the normal expectations which our partners have or devotees have. Sometimes, you tell something to the devotees, appreciate it. अरे सर पे चढ़ जाते हैं, उनको बहुत बोलते हैं ना, सर पे चढ़ जाते हैं. So because of that, you don't do anything. So that is why we are talking that please be more conscious that communication in a positive way is an ongoing process. You have to keep doing it repeatedly, right? So what do we have to do is, usually in relationships, you have to watch out for the signals, right? Don't you see signals while driving? Oh, it is green signal, I have to start. It is red signal, I have to stop. So same way in relationships, if you see that somewhere there is estrangement happening, some devotees are keeping distance from me, maybe something's wrong with me, maybe I'm behaving in a little different way, my family members are fed up of me, is there something that I need to do? We are very conscious, market is going up or down, we are looking for signals for that. Weather is hot or cold, we are looking for signals for that. But is my relationship going better or worse? Doesn't matter. We have become sometimes not digital world mein, we have become desensitized towards human relationships. We don't bother because we are trying to get reciprocation only from gadgets, right? So don't ignore signals. If you feel like that, stop. Think about it. Where I'm going wrong? Is it my unhealthy communication? Is it my non-verbal communication? Where do I need to change? What do I need to do anywhere? Whether it's in my workplace and I'm treating my juniors like that, that's why they are leaving the job and going away. Or, my Bhakti Vriksha people are going away, or people are displeased with me, I need to think. So if we have to think of some proactive strategies, or we could call them as communication enhancers, we have just categorized it in a few words. Number one is listen more and speak less. Usually we are very eager to speak. Do you understand what I'm going through? This, that. We keep communicating. But we don't listen. And listening is not only words. You have to listen to body language also. Sometimes the Prabhujis will, in some temple they will go and they will say, Mataji, you look very tired today. And the wife will say, my God, whole day, every day I'm tired at home. He doesn't even notice that. And he is telling that to somebody else. Or you might tell some other Prabhuji also, either way. Or the Matajis will tell their other Mataji friends or Prabhuji friends that, thank you so much, sorry, sir, so many things you don't tell me also. You are telling everybody else around on the phone. You tell your mother that, you tell your father that, but you never tell me that, right? So sometimes we need to listen to the body language of people and reciprocate accordingly. Second is, which is a very important factor, is we said appreciation. Appreciation how? We are talking of verbal appreciation, not mental. Many times you people say, of course, Prabhuji, we appreciate. I appreciate what my partner does for me. But did you ever convey that to each other? What is that to convey, They know he's working, it is his duty to work. And she's working at home because it is her duty to work at home. What do I need to communicate? But the psychologists say that appreciation, if not verbalized, is like getting a gift. We might pack a very expensive gift, diamond gift, a beautiful watch or something like that. We can hear, don't remain disturbed. If we pack a very expensive gift and have a very beautiful packing, but we never give it to the person for whom we have bought, what is the use of it? Is there any use? No, right? So appreciation is that tonic which will work. Try it. And sometimes we see that outside world is much better at appreciating than we devotees are. Because which is the worst juice? Which is the worst juice? Conjuice. We are so miserly in appreciating. Again we feel ज़्यादा appreciate किया ना सर पे चढ़ जाएंगे. अरे but कभी कभी तो करो appreciate. Ask yourself, when is the last I appreciated somebody? Sometimes we have to make a conscious effort कि भाई दिन में मैं कोई 5 जन को तो appreciate करूँ कि मेरे partner में 2 चीज़ तो appreciate करूँगा ही करूँगी. I will do that. I will appreciate my children because we are very fast in correcting more than appreciating, right? So we have to understand that before I correct somebody, I should appreciate the person. Then my correction will also be taken in the right spirit. Otherwise, it will not be taken in the right spirit, right? So appreciation is what? It's okay. Appreciation is what? It is a communication enhancer. Why do we put chaat masala in anything? Taste enhancer. So are there some relationship enhancers also? Yes. So appreciation is one of the very, very important relationship enhancer. Please become little more generous in that. Give it. It goes a long way. Okay. Third is respect. When you respect somebody, automatically your communication is better. If I don't respect kachra wala, I will hey, jaldi, itna late aata hai, jaldi aata hai. I will respect the kachra wala. But if some Maharaj has come, Maharaj, please. Nobody has to tell me respect Maharaj, but automatically, I will be a better communicator. Why? Because I respect him. Some senior people come, automatically there is respect, right? So if we increase the respect quotient in our relationship, let us respect our partners, let us respect our other devotees, then automatically our communication will become better. You will not even have to try for it. Because respect is there, we respect our parents, we communicate better with our parents, right? Because that respect element is there. So respect is a very important communication enhancer. And the fourth one is Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu, means what? Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. Those who give love, get love. Those who give hurt, get hurt. Common, understandable thing, na? If I spit up, that spit only falls on me. Where will it fall? On me only, na? So it is like that. What I will do unto others, that will come back. That is law of nature. So if I become good communicator, then I will also get less hurt because everybody will communicate very nicely with me. So since we don't have time, each of these topics we could take as a seminar. But these are some of the communication enhancers. Do you remember which ones? First one is listen more, speak less. Second one, appreciation. Third one, respect. And fourth is Atmavat. Do unto others what you would have them to do unto you.
Yeah. And of course, even Krishna in the 17th chapter of Gita talks about speech, right? Austerity of speech, right? All of you have read Gita, so you all understand this. This very important sloka he spoke about. So Krishna, in his own words, knew what we are talking about today, that our speech has to be consisting of three things. Let us read the translation. Austerity of speech consists in speaking words that are truthful, pleasing, beneficial, and to others, and also in regularly reciting Vedic scriptures and not agitating. Right? So Krishna is our father, my dear Lord, my dear friends. Right? He's our father, and we are his children. Our good father is teaching us the art and science of speaking properly. Right? Rather than giving into our conditioned side where we just speak roughly, rudely, harshly, in a reactive way, right? जैसे मन में आया बोलते ना बक दिया, ऐसे ही बोल दिया. Rather than that, Krishna is saying, be conscious, speak what is satyam, what is priyam, what is hitam. So when we speak something, is it truthful? Is it honest? Is it pleasing? And is it truly beneficial to the person, right? So in this way, Krishna is wanting to train us in the art of proper communication, right? So
Suppose after hearing all this, we realize that unfortunately, in some relationships, we have already made these mistakes. Damage has been done. Can something be done to repair it?
Yes. Yes.
Of course, something can be done. Hmm? We have to understand that there are damage repair mechanisms by which we could try to patch up, as we say, for what mistakes we made. For that, first, we understand it's never too late. So the first thing is, first we need to accept some mistake we might have made, however painful it is to our ego. It's not that always we are right. In any relationship, we always try to say, I am no fault of mine, but the opposite person only doesn't understand, right? When you go somewhere, this is how human mind never makes us realize that I could be wrong. But first thing is that please sometimes be ready to accept your mistake. Whether we are males or we are females, we have male ego, female ego, whatever. But we just accept it in a humility. Then what Krishna does? He becomes pleased with the humble attitude which we took, and he will inspire the opposite person to forgive us or patch up with the person, right? So first one is accept our mistake. Yeah, it's humility in action. We keep talking of Trinadapi, Sunichayana and all, but if we don't say accept the mistake, it doesn't work. Second is sometimes we might need to do honest clarification. Something I said in this way because actually I didn't mean it was because of this. That means at least we care. Otherwise, you just feel care. Forget it. Why should I give an explanation? I'm in a higher position. If they don't understand, that's their problem. No, give a honest communication and clarification. What I meant, what did it mean when I said that? And things might get clarified because of that. Third is, we beg for forgiveness. Because saying sorry is a sign of strength. Many times we don't say sorry because we say that if I say sorry, they will suggest, see, because it was your fault, you said sorry. But no, the person who says sorry means that that person cares for the relationship, not because the person was wrong. So don't misunderstand sorry like that. They said sorry because it was the mistake. No, it requires great strength. Otherwise, weak people cannot say sorry. Strong people can say sorry. So we may need to beg forgiveness and ask for that. And most important is we have to work for change. We cannot just sit tight on it and expect relationships to improve just like that. We have to work on the relationship for change. Change means what? Try to think about all that we have discussed. Okay, what I did wrong, what can I do better? Maybe, we can do that. Give more positive feedbacks in your relationship, right? Fill the love tank more, and maybe things might improve and the damage might be controlled. And the fifth thing is, as I said, invest in good times. Because in any relationship, there is an emotional bank account. First, I give more positivity to the relationship, and then some negative exchanges here and there will be accommodated. But if all the time I'm just going to be like a hinka jhad, we say, all sour communication I keep doing without any positive communication, then there is no hope for our being able to repair the relationship, right? So we can never stop communicating love, our appreciation to our spouse. The longer we are together, the more reasons are there to do it, and the more ways we know how to do it. Who can hurt our each other more than we? Who knows better the weakness and the dukkiness? Who knows, okay, what I will do which will hurt that person the most? Nobody knows better than me. And who knows how I can please the person? Me. So I have to decide whether I want to be the cause of the problem or the cause of the solution. Right? So ultimately, as we said, that we are trying to discuss about all this communication, because if my family life is good, if my relationship with my co-devotees are good, then I will be able to have perfect communication with the Lord. Because ultimately all that I am doing is for what? For what I am doing Bhakti Yoga? To please the Lord. Some siddhi Hari Toshanam. Hari ko satisfy karne ke liye. And we forget, that everybody else is a Vaishnav except the people in my house. Vaishnav, shouting at home, criticizing people at home is not Vaishnav Aprad. I may think like that. But is it Vaishnav Aprad? Sometimes it is Maha Vaishnav Aprad. And you will be answerable for that. You will be answerable for that if you hurt. Anybody is hurt. Whole Ramayana and Mahabharata came about because of the hurt which people felt in relationships. Pandavas and Kauravas were hurt. Sita was hurt. Right? All this hurt business brought about wars in the world. So the easiest way to hurt is by, as we said, tongue. Because sword can kill the body, and then after you are dead, where is the question of hurt? After that, even if I put 10 times I stab you again and again, you don't feel the hurt because you're already dead. But tongue, you are killing people alive. How is sadistic, like Mrigari did, half kill the people. Tadpada, tadpada, tadpada. So by using bad word, we are being like Mrigaris. People are there around us and we are half killing them. It's so painful for them to live with us, but like that. So we have to understand that if I want to please the Lord, that is the whole effort I am doing in my Bhakti Yoga. But what I am doing, Kunjara Shauchavat. Pura pani pher dete uske upar by not being careful in the way I treat other devotees, treat my family people. Nahi hota hai. So just last slide, we would say that what would be the perfection of communication if we remember 4 or 5 words which we could use more often? What are the 5 most important words, golden words, which you could use in your life? 5 important words. How can I serve you? How can I serve you? 5 most important words. That includes even family people. Not that I have to just serve people in the temple. People at home, to serve means to please, right? To serve means to please. So how can I serve you means how can I please you? So sometimes intermittently husband wife should ask, you are pleased with me, na? Pleased with me. Off and on we need to ask, you just cannot take it for granted that whatever I do, that's their problem if they are not pleased, I am doing my part. They don't understand. No. There's no harm in asking, Prabhuji, you are pleased with me, na? Am I doing, hurting something too much? Ask, no? It's not that because it is so close a relationship, why such formalities and all. But then in that informality ke naam pe sab Hare Krishna explosion at home keeps happening. Not necessary. 5 most important words, how can I serve you? 4 most important words. What is your opinion? This shows respect, right? Sometimes we take unilateral decisions, even in committees. Even if you have a committee in the temple, my way or highway. You have to do like this. Janmashtami festival will be celebrated like this. I don't care what you feel. Are? You take people's opinion, that means you respect what other people are saying. If I say, we are shifting from Hyderabad, what is some village around Hyderabad? Small village? We are shifting, and the wife says, but I want to stay in Hyderabad. I decided, na, bus. That's it. Or the wife says, I am going to my mother's house. But you ask Prabhuji, is it okay? I am going, anything needs to be done. When you ask each other's opinion, it shows what? Respect. Huh? So please increase that respect element. What are the three most important words? I am sorry. I am sorry. Huh? This shows your humility. Not by chanting Trinadapi Sunichena verse or giving 100 lectures on Trinadapi Sunichena verse. By practicing it. And temple is what? Is the school. Theory. Laboratory and practical is where? Home. Where your spiritual muscles get tested. I want to say something, but I control. Huh? But practical, It's not that everything I feel, I have to just say it. Somebody was asking us a question yesterday in the leadership seminar we did. Is it better to be straightforward? No, Prabhuji. Why be hypocritical? What I feel I should tell. So I might feel, you stupid fool, like that if the husband tells the wife like that. I feel like that about you, so I should say it? No? Is it priyam? Is it pleasing to the opposite person? No. Is it hitam? Will it benefit? No. Then why say it? Think before you say. Before whatever I am going to say, sometimes we need to think. It's very easy to say these things, but we have to be more conscious and practice more, and then it comes. So 3 most important words, I am sorry. 2 most important words, thank you. Do we need to say thank you to our partners? How many of you all say regularly, I am sorry and thank you? Just see how many hands are coming up. Next time we should have more hands come up. Sometimes one partner puts up the hand and the other partner looks, when? Many times it happens like that, When we ask such a question, obviously every partner is looking at the opposite side. हाथ ऊपर कर रहे कि they are in utter shock. You can see on their face. कब sorry बोलते हैं? कब thank you बोला है मुझे? Whatever, we don't want to get into that. But please increase, be more generous. Don't be conjuice in that. Sorry, thank you. Use it profusely with your own people. Give the best part of your communication to your own people. And what is the one most important word? Not I. I to we. Whenever we will think of we, automatically our communication will become good, because we are thinking of the interest of the whole unit. I'm not just thinking about myself. I like this, I don't like this. It is the I generation. What she's saying is not wrong, because we all have become so selfish and self-centered that I'm only thinking about myself. What I like, what I don't like, what I feel like saying, I just say it. It's not hypocrisy to not say what you feel. It's not a great thing. I am very straightforward in saying, no, it's not a feather in your cap. Be little more measured. Think about it. If it is good, then say it upfront. But if it is bad, think how you can communicate that particular thing. It's not necessary to, जैसे बोला ना, अंधे को अंधा बोलना. Tell it in a better way. Same thing can be communicated. It's not what you say, it's how you say that matters. So as we said, that when we take care of some of these factors, you will automatically see that we will become better devotees. Our japa will give us more satisfaction. We will attract the mercy of the Lord, because our communication with the Lord will become very pleasing to Him. Because we have pleased His devotees. So the whole purpose is this, that we never thought of this connection in pleasing the Lord and this particular thing. How many of you all thought, even we didn't think about it till we decided to do this seminar, okay, there is some connection. We think chanting is chanting and communication is communication, but there is a connection between the two. That if I want to please the Lord, I have to think of these things. Only then I can become better devotees. Otherwise, there will be cracks in communities. There will be separate groups formed. I don't want this is I belong to this group and I belong to that group. Why? Because there is unhealthy communication going on. Families are cracked up today. Why there are divorces and all happening? Because of this. Because of rash communication, all these social evils are happening. Extramarital affairs are happening because you feel my partner doesn't talk properly to me. Some other person talks properly to me, but grass always is green on the other side. When you start living with the person, you actually know. But somehow these social evils come about. So why not create a good environment at home that all these negative, wrong thoughts don't come in our mind only. Divorce, extramarital affairs, they will not happen if we have a happy, healthy, congenial environment in the house through good communication. And trust us, the most affected people in this whole process is children. They see that, they learn that, they are affected, they become insecure, and we will be responsible for that. So we have to be little more aware of this. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I have a question, but after that, if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to ask. So, Mataji and Prabhuji, my question is, there is a tendency, now I'm talking a little about philosophy that we hear in Krishna consciousness, that we are all here to exploit this world and to enjoy. We have come here. Right? The core philosophy of why we are in this material world is because we want to exploit and enjoy this place. Or we want to be Krishna here, something like that. We keep hearing this in the philosophy. So it also happens probably that in relationships, we try to use people. Like if this person is useful to me, I'll be respectful to him. If I don't think this person is going to be useful to me, I may choose not to be so respectful or not to invest any time. Right? So I'm like picking and choosing. Just as a conversation, he is temple president, so better be good with him. Because he can influence a lot my spiritual life. But he's just a devotee in the temple, he doesn't have any influence with the management. I can afford to be, rude with him. If at all I have to be, I'll not think twice. So the aspect of using people according to my convenience, how do you come out of that? It's like deep rooted inside, and which also goes into the house, which also goes into personal relationships. Is it my patience level to accept that my wife will not understand me or my children will not understand me? I'm not ready to have that patience. My boss may not be able to understand me, that's okay. But I can't accept that my family will not understand me. Because I expect them to understand me, because actually I'm trying to use them for my happiness. The underlying principle is I want to use people for my happiness. How do you come out of this, this knot in the heart, which is so difficult to come out of?
Jesus Christ said, the way you treat the least among men is the way you treat me. Powerful statement. Very powerful statement, right? He's an acharya, right? In any company also, the top people are judged by how they treat the lowest people, right? So he's a very good manager. He's a good supervisor. He's a good GM. How is judged? Because when he walks on the floor among people, he smiles and says hello to even the worker, janitor, not just the technician. Say hello, how are you today morning? Are you all right? Everything fine? See, this is a nice person, right? So we are, as you said, very choosy and picky about how we do things. Imagine Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He wasn't giving his mercy only to Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, the big guys in Gaur Leela. Haridas was the big guy, the big preacher. The Acharya is a big man, who Chandipur worships him, right? He was giving respect to Koloja Sridhar also. And as a beggar in the company, who will give respect to his beggar, Prabhuji? Beggar, भिखारी, क्या मतलब है उसका? Shukla Brahmachari is a beggar. He actually is a beggar, nothing but a beggar. He goes with his jhola, goes on begging from home to home. People give him dry chapatis, dry sweet, pawa, flat rice, and that. But Mahaprabhu, he is putting him in his personal circuit and calling him at Shiva Sangam to do Harinam Kirtan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is respecting a beggar in the street. Does it speak a lot to us? It speaks. Apani Achari Prabhur Jivera Sikhai. The Lord, when He does something, He's teaching us. And people, when Sudama Brahman was entering the Dwarkapuri, they were thinking, "Ye kaisa?" He said, "I want to meet Dwarkadish." People in the chowkidar saying, "Hey, फटाफट कपड़ा में कौन कुछ भी आ जाता, कोई भी आ जाता है बनने के लिए." But the Lord ran from his throne to see when he saw his friend. He wasn't going by. He is the least Brahman. So many Brahmanas are there at that time. The least Brahman was Sudama. Fata kapda, dadi, this, that, unkept. Ran to meet. Lowly, unkept Brahman, dirty looking. Right? So, in this way, we need to have, when we say, the song says, Sagala Samana Korite Shakoti. That is the song. So it says, Thoda Samman, Isko Samman, Shakala Sammane Korite Shakati. When we sing, when we have Vyas Puja, we sing this song very often, right? Shakala Sammane. So when you say Amanina Mana Dena, that Amanamandana is for all. The level of respect can be differential, that is understandable. That part, what you said is true. Somebody sannyasi is worthy of obviously far more respect. Somebody brahmachari comes in amongst us and say, Prabhuji, please you're sitting down, you sit on the chair at least, right? We will give him a garland, we'll give him a... So depending on their status in society, depending on status in a particular organization, different respect is expected and is natural also. But that does not, and the corollary of that particular understanding is that people who are not in position need to be neglected or rude with. That is unbecoming from the examples I just quoted. And the Lord will actually hold it against us. It will hold it against us. Right? We need to respect. When Merigari, example we talk about Merigari, he respected even the existence of an ant. He wanted to step on the ant also. Ant is a part and parcel of Krishna. So Krishna is very, very observant. Right? If he just sees that we are respecting our Guru Maharaj and respecting somebody else's Guru Maharaj, or you talk nicely to your God brothers, God sisters, and say how to do it to somebody else. Krishna wants to see. So that's what the Lord has said, Sammoham Sarva Bhuteshu. Nama Deshosya Nama Priya. Is it not? Krishna says like that. So he expects devotees to also be equally inclined towards all living entities. Does it make sense? Hare Krishna. This young beautiful girl is want to ask some question. Please go ahead.
You were saying about whatever we say, it has to be even beneficial and truthful, right? But sometimes something truthful is not necessarily pleasing. So in such a case, do we not say it or do we alter it to make it sound nice? How do we do it?
Yeah, we may not say it. It's possible we may not want to say it at all. Right? If it is hurtful. Is it very, very important for me to say it? I need to analyze myself. Is it so important I should say it even if it is hurtful? If I say no, I did not have to say it. But if I decide yes, I should say it, then there is a way of speaking even unpleasant things. That is a skill. That is an art which we have to learn. Right? That skill is to be learned. Something. How to really speak that, as I said, the content. What words would you choose to speak things which are also not very pleasant to hear? Like for example, I'll give you example on my personal level. As doctors, we have to do many unpleasant things sometimes. Patient is in the ICU, patient is critical, and patient dies, right? And who's going to communicate? Doctor, right? I said, sir, your patient, no, kya karega? He's dead. Will you speak like that to your patient's relatives? मर गया वो, आपके पिताजी है ना, मर गए. In the highest exams in medical education, there is a separate questionnaire and a separate day of evaluation how to communicate bad news. It's very unpleasant to tell people your patient is critical, somebody is having cancer, somebody is having HIV positive, somebody is having this, somebody having that. It's a very bad communication we often make to our patients. How to speak those unpleasant things? We are trained to speak that. It's an art, right? And oftentimes the doctors are given high degrees not based on their knowledge of clinical medicine, but on the basis of their how they are able to communicate unpleasant things when they are examined for it. Right? So the examples make you to understand that in this practical world, we may have to speak unpleasant things, but there has to be a skill how to communicate that. Is all right? Hare Krishna. Prabhu, like to speak? Say something. Yes.
Thank you for such a participation. I have a quick question. So sometimes when we are so good to others, like others will take it as an advantage upon us.
Yeah.
So how we not go into that
Yeah.
being
Yeah. So this was, we were talking to Satya Prabhu yesterday when we were driving back to Gachibowli. We were talking the same thing to him. This is something also very common, and that therefore needs to be addressed. The question is very relevant. That when we are good to everyone, people take us for a ride, not for granted, take us for a ride. Right? So, I think that does not mean that we lose power of discrimination, though. Right? Especially this problem comes when it comes to talking about whatever we talked today makes complete sense when it is relevant to devotees and home people. Correct? So at least on that, and that we do have any questions on that, as we are all in agreement that this is the way we should go forward in our spiritual life when it comes to home people and Vaishnava community. Correct? Now the question automatically arises: what about office situation? In office situation, we need to be respectful. At the same time, we need to be intelligent and speak as is necessary. Right? We don't want to be rude. We don't want to be rash. Because that's not our swabhava. Right? At the same time, we need to speak where it is necessary to protect ourselves. What do you need to do to protect yourselves from being taken for granted or for a ride? What do you need to do? That you ask yourself. So, your content will be different, but your as a Vaishnava, your intent will not be bad. ये मैं किसी की बुराई के लिए नहीं कर रहा हूँ, but my content is I speak in a particular way to my boss, to my colleague, to my immediate superior, or to my junior. I speak in a particular way, right? The content is chosen properly. The words are chosen how to speak to them, because that's what is required for me to have effective work environment in my office. Is it not? At the same time, because I'm doing that, which may be a little unpleasant sometimes, I have no bad intentions. I'm just doing it because it is to safeguard my emotional security. Is it okay? So it is just doing the needful, right? You don't have to be a bad guy. You don't say you should be a bad guy in your office, which people start hating you. That you are very good at the devotee, and at the office you're like, right? I have a I'm just reminded of I have a film director who's my patient. He directs a lot of Hindi films, right? And he's such a nice gentleman. The way his wife is very sattvic, very devotional. Both of them are like really God-loving people. They will go donations for Janamastami and things like that. But when he's on the set, when he's on the shooting arena, when he's doing his shootings and all that, he said, Doctor, I have to tell you honestly, I have to use such words with my people. Otherwise, they just don't work. The only language they understand, because they're so low class people, the only language they understand is when I have to use words which you will find is very surprising that I'm using this. But that's the only language I can use. Otherwise, my whole work will not be done. I will lose money. मेरा project बनेगा नहीं. My set will not be made. Shooting होएगा नहीं. कुछ नहीं होएगा मेरा. Right? So I'm giving an extreme example. Is that people have to sometimes use differential behavioral patterns to actually be more effective. But in their heart of hearts, they don't really mean that. Are you getting the point? Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, does that mean that in between the three things, Satyam, Priyam, Tam, we can sometimes compromise on Priyam?
Especially with certain setup.
Yeah, especially in the setup that is what needs to get done. We are answerable to somebody else.
You're talking about the office?
Yeah.
In office, yes, I think, as I said, I think in Prabhupada's words, do the needful, Mataji. The work done? Yes, definitely. You are, see, the thing is, what is important in office? You have a post. You have some responsibilities. You have some duties to perform. You have to deliver some goods to the company or organization you are working for, right? And you know best how to do it. Correct? So use that knowledge of to do the best, but at the same time, whatever you're doing it, you keep your conscience clear. Right? This is for a purpose. Arjun is not, now take like Arjun example. He is asked to kill. Have you been asked to kill somebody? Have you been asked to kill somebody? Arjun's profession requires him to kill people. Butcher them. Through and through. Cut them through. To their arrows. Right? But he did it. Did he have bad intentions? So even if you have done something extreme like killing, which is Kshatriya Dharma, Arjuna was cleared in his heart first by 700 shlokas of Gita of the wrong intent. The content was killing, the intent was I'm doing a service to Krishna. Correct? So when extreme things can be done, and the intent is taken care of. Does it make sense? Hare Krishna.
And sometimes this is a very difficult thing for leaders, even in a community. There might be some people who are really causing problem, and they need to be communicated. So at that time, we don't have to think, that how can I communicate, what needs to be communicated needs to be communicated, but again, trying to do it in the best possible way. That means again doing the needful. Am I the best person to communicate? If I am not, then better I tell him, because maybe he's better at telling this. That person might be able to take it better from him than from me. As long as the work is done, then we do it. So whenever there is communication, we think all these factors, that doing the needful, whether I should do it or the opposite person should do it, whether this is the right time to do it, whether this is the right place to do it, whether this is the right way to do it. So all these things, when you combine, Krishna, because we are sincere in our intent, Krishna will guide us from within. What is the best way to do it?
Yes, Satya Prabhu.
Outset our sincere gratitude for coming in, daily sharing a lot of insights this morning and this evening. Because maybe we're all used to listening a certain type of maybe katha and kind of thing, but not really reflecting the important aspects of what we suggested. Only after your conversation this morning, you said, I was reflecting a little bit. I got confused. I asked a little long question.
You want to speak into this? Because it may not be clear what you want to say unless you speak it in this.
Can I have a built-in mic?
Now, forgive me, Prabhu, I'm asking a little long question because I don't know how to articulate that one. When we are listening to certain lectures, we sometimes listen like certain aspects like, let go the controllership mind, align with Krishna's plan, all your plans are going to fail. That's the kind of language we hear in many kind of kathas. Then on the other aspect, we hear like today morning you are talking about, and also one more aspect here is, Avasya Raksube Krishna. Krishna will take care of you. You give him priority, you are in deep trouble, Krishna will take care of you. But this morning when we are talking about our own carefulness in proactive planning, our own carefulness in financial planning. Otherwise, even some devotees who have so busy in the entire life in serving, but they never took care of their finances, got into immense troubles at the end. So how to connect these things of letting go controllership and letting go that ownership and I am the planner kind of a mentality, and at the same time we are asked to do our own financial planning, our own careful planning and all kinds of things. And also Krishna on other end saying that avasya rakshveka, that he will protect. But we are talking about situations of people where if they are not taking care of themselves, they are getting themselves into the trouble. Did you understand my question, Prabhu? So I got a little puzzled in between these two perspectives of philosophy and action plan. If you could kindly throw some light and clarify both of you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. First of all, comment on Avasya Rakshite Krishna. That Rupa Goswami is a 6 sentences of surrender, right? Shadvidha Sharanagatihi. That Avasya Rakshite Krishna is basically, he's saying he will always protect your faith. The Rakshite Krishna is not about protecting the body or your health or your finances. Krishna will protect if you invest in faith in the Lord, you put Shraddha in the Lord, in trying times, He will always give the right intelligence and guide you properly from within the heart or to some devotee, right? So, Avasya Krishna means He is there to protect your faith, right? That is very important to understand, right? When it comes to more worldly things, what we talk of financial planning, etc., right? That is part of our swadharma and responsibility. Krishna has given you a family. Krishna has given you children and wife to take care of, right? Is it Krishna's duty to take care of your children or your duty? Your duty. Krishna has put your children under your care. It's put your wife under your care. It's put your parents under your care, right? And on behalf of Krishna, I will plan my finances. Because I need finances to take care of myself, my future, my savings, my emergency situations, my contingencies, etc., my insurance, everything I have to plan, right? On behalf of Krishna, I will take care of them. Care means care at all three levels. That's what care means: physical care, emotional care, and of course also spiritual care, right? So we are doing it on behalf of Krishna. The problem came upon when in ISKCON in the earlier days, when people joining full time, they joined full time, they sent the children